All right, happy fight day, everybody. As you can see on the countdown clock, we are less than 1 hour away from UFC 261, 3 world title fights, solid main card, some pretty interesting and fun matchups on the prelims. We're going to have some fun tonight, no doubt about that. As we welcome you to the People's Pre-Fight Show right here on MMAfighting.com. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We are all over the place for this big event. I am Mike Heck. I do not do this alone. Thank God you don't want to hear me talk for an hour straight. We have the Prince of Positivity, Alex K. Lee. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm great, and I just realized you're going to introduce him in a second. We should have had our special guest record our intro music. I mean, I love this intro music, but we could have had him lay down a lick for this intro. But I mean, you'll see what people will see why I'm saying that.
Yes, we also have on the ones and twos playing the music as we speak. E. Casey Leydon. There he is.
Oh, another hint.
Yes, we're hinting away. And our very special guest, the big draw, so to speak, coming off a big submission win, first round submission. And let me just throw this out there, Gerald Meerschaert. Because of that submission, I won the fight picks because I picked that right on the nose last week. Yeah. So thank you for the extra 25 points in the contest. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us. And for those watching right now, wherever you are, this is your show. That's what we call the People's Pre-Fight Show. You guys dictate everything. You ask the questions. We answer them. We have a fighter here. So ask him questions about this card as well. I know some of you like to play the ponies. This is not a gambling show, but we will give you our picks and our takes, however you see fit. What you choose to do with them is on you, but I don't know. But how are we feeling, Gerald? We got 3 title fights. We got the main event, the rematch between Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. I don't know about you. When this fight was booked, I understood it. I wasn't overly excited about it, but as we're getting closer, man, I'm getting jazzed for this one. What are your thoughts on the main event tonight?
I'm excited to see it. I think Masvidal does a really good job of kind of sticking to his character and playing his part. And when I say sticking to his character, I don't think that he's, I think he's being himself, but he's good at sticking to what he knows and kind of what drew people to him in the first place. I think that helps a lot. And I think if you have that certain level of confidence, whether or not, it should be close on paper, you can kind of start convincing people that there's a real shot there. So I think that's made for a really good buildup. And I think it's really helpful to have fans, especially being in Florida, getting the reaction out of the crowd that they're going to get from Masvidal. It just makes it more interesting.
I would agree. Both of these guys are doing a good job selling this fight. Even Kamaru Usman's done a nice job. I thought the press conference he was great, dropping the line the only reason you're here is because I chose you. Usman playing the heel role to perfection at this point. But AK, how you feeling right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put your excitement level?
I'm at a solid 9. I should be at a 10, but I guess we've just been doing this for too long, Mike. It's hard for us to get it. But no, I'm at a solid 9. It's great. We didn't lose any fights this week. We didn't lose any fights today. We've kind of gotten used to that. Mike, I do want to add at the beginning when you were telling Gerald that because of his, you were queuing it up. You were saying because of that, that's first round submission, you won our picks. I thought you were going to say because of that first round submission, that's why he's here doing the Q&A. He won a spot in our Q&A. I thought you were going to tell us we had Bartosz Fabinski on speed dial. We were ready to bring him in, and then Gerald took him out and got the spot. We thought so. That's what I thought you were going to say. I was like, well, we're going to get okay. But no, it's great to have Gerald here. I'm a 10 excited for this Q&A. Let me put it that way.
There we go.
So congratulations, Gerald. Yeah, so you made the show.
You won the spot. Yeah.
You did it, sir.
That was really what was motivating me. It was much less about the money and the record, as I just really wanted to be here today to answer some questions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't get the 50K bonus till the show's completed. It's a little known. It's in the contract. It's just one of the things about prize
fighting.
It'll
be way after that, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you can see, it's 55 minutes away. Normally we do this for 30 minutes, but we're extending it. We did the old school preview show yesterday. So what are the peeps saying, Casey? What do we got? All right.
Let's go to the first question. Where'd it go? There we go.
All right, Joseph Boza, what sleeper fight excites you guys today? For me, it's Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. Also, Jimmy Crude versus Anthony Smith is okay. I don't know if I would consider either of those sleeper fights, but compared to the 3 title fights, I think I understand where Joseph's coming from. But Gerald, I think I know the answer to this question coming from you. But what fight is flying under the radar that isn't getting enough love that has you excited for this evening?
Yeah, I agree with you with the first part of that. I don't understand how either of those are sleeper fights. That they both have a guy in it that has fought for a title in their respective weight class. But for me, it's going to have to be my guy Brendan Allen and Carl Robertson going at it. I've trained a lot with Brendan. I trained a little bit with Carl way back before I was in the UFC. Both good guys. Of course, I got to pull for my guy Brendan. You know, I've worked with him a ton. I'm really excited to see this fight. They're both real tough on the feet. They both like to stand and bang. Brendan's got a little bit of an edge on the ground, but Robertson is still dangerous. If you get it to his legs, he can still like throw elbows from there. He's not, terrible on the ground either. He's a strong guy, so that would be the one I'd pick to be the sleeper.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling you're going with that.
Is that a Brendan Allen fight kit behind you on the wall?
No, that's one of the jackets. Oh. Yeah, so I got a bunch of the walkout jackets from guys that I've cornered and stuff. So I got a Ben Askren one. I got Brendan. There's a Sergio Pettis one up there. I got 2 from Tyron because one was from the first one I walked out with him when he won the belt in Atlanta, and then the last time he defended it when he beat Till in Dallas. So you win the title, you get 2 jackets up on the wall.
All right.
There you go. AK, what say you, my friend? Sleeper fight, what's the one that's got you fired up that no one's really talking about here?
I'll go really low on the card. I'll go to one of the early prelims, Dana Bakariel and Kevin Natividad. I think Natividad's super exciting. I think Bakariel has shown some stuff so far in the UFC, so I'm kind of cheating here because it is the only bantamweight fight on the card. People know I love the bantamweight division. It's produced like nothing but bangers and like exciting prospects for the last like 18 months. So that's the fight that's really jumping out at me. I think we're going to get a competitive fight. I think we'll also get a finish, which is that to me is the best of both worlds. I think you'll get to see both guys show what they can do. I hope both guys get another chance after this. Regardless of the result, I think they're both got a lot of potential. But that is my, definite sleeper. I'm not sure if people are aware, but this early prelims, a lot of potential on it. Definitely maybe not household names yet, but yeah, Danat Bakariel and Kevin Natividad.
Casey?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the very, very first fight of the night, the curtain jerker. Ariane and Na Liang. Mostly because I know zero about these ladies, and there's like about a 4-foot height difference between them. So I'm just kind of into like freak show fights. I have no clue what's gonna happen. And like I think the Brazilian lady is like super hulked out, and the Chinese fighter is like I think like 5'9" or something and weighs 115. So I'm just excited about just the unknown, and I think I'm just thinking positive. Just thinking positive.
Yeah. I get what you're coming from. If you missed the preview show, Jeff Molina versus Keelang Aori is kind of the one I got circled as a potential fight of the night altogether. I think those two guys are going to get in there and get after it. I'm very excited to see Zhu Rong make his octagon debut. I think of all these Chinese preliminary fighters that they brought over, I think this guy has a gigantic ceiling. I'm really excited to see him fight. He's fighting Rodrigo Vargas and Tristan Connolly fighting at 145. There's some lost narratives here. There's a lot of people saying like Tristan Connolly's dropping 2 weight classes, and compared to his first UFC fight, yeah, he is, but he also took that first fight on like days notice. So he pretty much like had to fight at 170 because cutting all that weight to get to 55 where he has fought most of his career wasn't really going to happen. And you're fighting Michel Pereira, and when the UFC calls, doesn't matter what weight class it is, you answer that call. That's what Tristan Connolly did. But most of his career is at 155. And the other thing is he has fought at 45 before. It's been like 6 years, but he has fought at 45 before. And if you caught my interview with him before he booked this fight, he said 45 was something he had his eye on. Once he completed neck surgery and everything going on in Canada with the restrictions, he got himself in incredible shape. and he didn't think the cut to 45 was going to affect him at all. So I'm excited to see how he does. And obviously Pat Sabatini is a tough customer, so that's a really interesting fight. But there's a lot of like deep cuts on this card, and I know when you look at the main card being so loaded up, it kind of gets forgotten, maybe the householdness. But that's what the UFC. That's a smart move by the UFC, because a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this show, and it gives these young guys, these newcomers, the opportunity to shine and get that rub, so to speak. So there's going to be some good fights tonight, right off the bat.
I'm hoping there's some good fights. I think the UFC loading of 3 title fights working, kind of give them the benefit of just kind of a lot of newcomers, and we're just hoping a lot of these new prospects just, they deliver tonight. I hope it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. Discover some new names tonight. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Good question. Good question. We like the deep cuts.
Wally Foon in the comments wants to let us know that the 3 of the newcomers are graduates of the Shanghai Academy, the UFC Academy in Shanghai.
Yep.
Keelang, Liang, and Rong. So that's kind of why they're all debuting on the same card, I think.
Yeah. Zhu Rong is a monster.
Okay, another question.
I can't wait to see that fight tonight.
Another question from Mr. Joseph Boza.
And listen, and by the way, for people who are like, oh, I can't wait to see the same 3 people ask questions, ask them. You ask questions. You ask questions, and we'll answer them.
Yes, good questions.
You can't just comment, "Ooh, Usman sucks." And I'm just not gonna throw that on the screen.
Yes. That is not a question. That is not a question.
If you say Usman sucks with a question mark, maybe then I'll go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can debate it. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Would any of the challengers benefit from having fans back today? Sometimes the fans can sway the fight in the fighter's favor that might be down. So, Gerald, you got to experience both. You got to experience capacity crowds. You've got to experience the empty arena. So, do you believe that any of the challengers, I mean, obviously Masvidal is an easy answer because this is like a 15,000 Masvidal fans in ViStar tonight, but would you say any of the other challengers will benefit from having fans back in the arena?
I mean, it kind of depends on the judges. Person to person, it's always different. I definitely get a kick out of hearing the crowd go nuts, and it's kind of a nice gauge for me because they're not always right. Like I've been in fights where they'll get a ooh or an ah, and the guy he hit my shoulder or he missed, but then at least I get to know okay, they made that sound. The judges are probably going to think something happened, so now I got to get that one back, right? Or I'll get hyped up and be like, okay, now I got to turn it on, or get excited and having fun. So it can help in that sense to kind of not only gauge where you're at in the fight, but kind of keep score, and then you use it to build your confidence up and have fun and all that good stuff. But that would be the biggest thing, other than personally, is if you're in your hometown, they're going to make more noise for you. And if it's a close fight, that can be the difference on the scorecards. And I think people kind of look past that sometimes. When there's no crowd and no noise, you can hear everything. You can see everything. There's no bias as far as who's making noise and who's not, because especially, no one's perfect. We're not going to use instant replay for every single exchange. But if there's a bunch of exchanges where me and the other guy know what's landing and what's not, but it can look very different to 1, 2, or all 3 of the judges, as far as maybe it looks like one guy swayed with a punch and they thought they got hit, but really they just dipped out of the way, and maybe that's the one bigger movement that kind of gives that guy the round. So I think in that sense, if you're more the hometown favorite or more the crowd favorite, it can help you a little bit, but that's why you go out there and try to knock people out and put them to sleep, because you don't got to worry about it.
Gerald, what about motivation wise? Because I mean, I know, you haven't gone to a decision too many times in your career, but has there been any fights even before the UFC, especially fighting in your hometowns, fighting in Wisconsin? Has there been fights where you might have gotten down a little bit early, but because the crowd was kind of behind you, that you were able to get that second win? Does that happen to you when you're in action, or is it not a factor for you when you're competing?
I mean, it doesn't hurt. You can get that little adrenaline boost and it can help out. But to say that it's a deciding factor for the fights and the fighters, I doubt that. It's probably a little more for the judging side of it, if anything.
Do you think there'll be any effect to? I guess I want to go back to Usman Masvidal in the first fight, It was an empty arena, and I really, really feel that fight. At least our memory of it would be very different if there was like 15,000 people, and I'm gonna assume 15,000 people booing the main event. And I'm kind of curious. It was a smart strategic win by Usman. I'm not taking anything away, but from entertainment standpoint, that's a different story. But I really wonder if we had that same fight tonight and we have 15,000 Jacksonville MMA fans booing the main event. Do you think that could have any effect on how either the ref handles maybe the clinching on the cage, or the judging, or maybe even how Usman performs tonight?
No, I think Usman would be the type where he would just double down on it just to spite.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, actually.
Especially if it's working, I would just look at the crowd and be like, "Screw you guys! Like, you don't pay my bills. I'm gonna sit here and stomp on his feet as long as I want to." But and for the ref, maybe it affects some refs. I haven't really seen that to be true, though. I feel like if a ref has a disposition to separate guys faster, that tends to be pretty common across the board. And if they have a tendency to let them work, it tends to be like that across the board, even with a crowd or without a crowd. I like the percentage, or like the amount of time in a percentage that it would, so if normally they would let you work for a minute, maybe it would be a minute 10 without a crowd, or maybe it would be 50 seconds with a crowd booing. So I don't think that the percentage is that great where it makes a huge difference. Might sway a little one way or the other, but generally speaking, through the pandemic, without people and then even with people going back and forth, they seem to be pretty normal for like the individual ref, what their style is.
Cool. It's a good question right there. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since we've heard some of the sounds that we've heard in these arenas. So I'm curious. Obviously, two of the challengers are going to be massive fan favorites, and Masvidal for sure. I feel like Namajunas is going to get a huge pop because they're in Florida, and Florida just does Florida. And then Shevchenko will probably be the crowd favorite in the flyweight title fight. So we'll see. It was amazing hearing Alex Oliveira get such a big pop yesterday. Yeah. That was surprising. I was like, "Whoa, he's got such a
nice smile. His smile's so wonderful, So I was cheering him on. I was like, "Yeah."
Well, I got fired up. I was like, "All right."
Keep in mind too, Florida's like little Brazil. There's a lot of people coming up from Brazil just to train there, and like in general. So there's a pretty good, and there's already a Latin population anyway, right? So you're gonna generally cheer for the people you identify with. So it makes sense that some of them might get a bigger crowd response in Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I'm getting even more fired up right now. We're going to hear a loud, boisterous crowd in Jacksonville. All right. What else we got?
Okay.
It's not my birthday. Ignore that. Casey, it's not my birthday. Casey, I don't know if you saw this question.
Tweeted it out hey guys, it's my birthday. This is AK Lee.
That's
weird. Okay.
Don't embarrass me in front of Gerald.
Sorry.
Don't embarrass me in front of Gerald.
This is awkward. I know it's live. We'll edit it out in the post.
I don't know if you saw podcast, Casey. I don't know if you saw this question earlier, but it's a quick one anyway. Michael Easter was asking, and I don't know if there is any. So he was asking. He was asking Gerald specifically. What is the best entrance theme that has saxophone in it? And I couldn't think of any looking at the question. And if there isn't one, what do you think would be a good theme to come out in that has some significant sax sections in it?
The best one? I feel like he wants me to say Careless Whisper because I played that before already, but
of course.
It's not a bad one. There's a lot of Bruce Springsteen songs that have saxophone in it, but I don't know that it's like close in the intro. But yeah, I mean there's actually a lot more, especially old rock and roll songs that have saxophone featured in it than you would, if you were just sitting here thinking it wouldn't come to mind, but then you start hearing them, it's like, oh, it's actually quite a bit. So I'd have to take some time for that one.
Okay, we can come back to it. Think about it.
I think there's. I feel like there's some good Tina Turner songs that like in the kind of has the sax popped out.
Proud Mary.
Yeah. So
just anything by George Thorogood would work. But you have to you have to skip pretty forward. Like Bad to the Bone has tons of saxophone, but you kind of have to skip to the prelude there, or the interlude.
Well, there's quite a few like popish, like and even kind of almost rap songs for a little stretch there. Like maybe like around last few years that had like a predominant saxophone in the melody somewhere. Like there was one song was like "Talk Dirty to Me" or something, and they had that funky saxophone part. And there was one more that was pop like on the top 10 for a little bit.
Going down for real.
The big hook had a saxophone. Yeah. So like there's when you sit and think about it, you don't think of like remember that being the thing, but then you hear the melody, it's like, oh yeah, that is a saxophone.
I think that Ariana Grande song "Problem" has a saxophone in it. Not that I listen to Ariana Grande, guys. I watch MMA.
Dude,
Sorry.
face the pain, bro. Face the pain,
Ariana Grande, it's fine.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No,
seriously, that's a true story though. If like I picked up Sage Northcutt from the airport before, right? He is the same when it's just you two as he is in person all the time. Because we were talking, he's like, "Oh, what kind of music do you listen to?" And I was like, "Oh, if I'm lifting, I'll listen to metal, or if we're working out, I'll rap." I was like, "Well, what do you like?" He's like, "Oh, I like all kinds of stuff, but I really like Ariana Grande." And I was like, "All right, that seems pretty on brand. Like that's cool."
Again,
yeah, we could have
proud.
We could have a saxophone talk for the next 37 minutes about like songs that pop into our head that have saxophones in them.
Pre-saxophone fan Q&A. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I could go off here. All right. Well, if Kamaru Usman wins tonight, what do you think, Gerald? Does he have a claim to the BMF title? Will the BMF title have a proper lineage or just a sideshow if Usman wins tonight?
I think he should jump on that, honestly. If he really wants to go full heel, he should say that he deserves the BMF title and just start talking reckless, ridiculous shit to everybody about how he's a bad man. That would be awesome, because then you would have a reason to like bring someone in, that's a slugger or something to try and get that back. Or like, you could even set up a Nick or Nate Diaz fight just for, kicks if you wanted to. So I think even if he doesn't, I think he should jump on that for sure.
100%. That'd be like nuclear Hulk Hogan turning heel NWO heat right there. Like people be throwing soda cups at him. Like it'd be wild if he did that.
That'd be
what do you think about?
Fantastic.
100%. He needs to lean into that. But what do you think, AK? Should Usman do that if he goes out there and beats Masvidal? Should he be like, give me the BMF title? I'm the BMF champion.
Gerald had to invoke the Diazes. He had to bring up the Diaz name. As we know, one Mr. Nick Diaz has made it clear he is in Jacksonville. I don't know if there is going to be. I don't think I'm sure he's just attending and going to be low key. But now Gerald's had made me think there's going to be some sort of post fight call out or something. I'm the real BMF. Could be a call out of Masvidal. Who knows? Even if Masvidal wins or loses. No, I like the full heel idea. I think. I liked how Usman reacted to Masvidal bringing it up at the press conference. He was saying, like, look, we've got 3 title fights, actual like UFC title fights in the line here, not that piece of, bleep. The second part of the question, will the belt have a proper lineage or just a sideshow? I hope it's just a sideshow. I don't think we need to get technical with the BMF belt. I think it's a fun prop. I wish that Dana White, when it was first invented, wasn't so like, oh, it's a one-off thing. We're not gonna like promote do anything again. He should have leaned into like the whole concept. So I don't know. I like that they made a belt for it, but I didn't like how it was handled promotionally. They can always fix it again. This is something they can always cut create a new advertisement for it and build up another fight for it, depending who's next for Masvidal or Usman if he does claim the BMF belt. But no lineage, please. It's a fun sideshow thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we like in fights sometimes.
I still object to the term BMF because it is not the BMF belt. It is baddest motherfucker in the game belt.
Oh.
That's what it is. I'm sorry, AK. Oh. I'm sorry.
Freaking ears.
It is not BMF. BMF for the kids. This is for the replica belts they sell at Walmart.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just saying, man. BMF. Come on, man.
The BMF should have a 24/7 rule like the old hardcore title did. That's the BMF.
That would be a good gimmick. That would be a good gimmick.
Someone knocking on Masvidal's door with a referee. Oh man,
with the embedded crew just follows them around.
I would pay an extra $10 a month for Fight Pass if they just had a BMF title cam and you just followed that belt around everywhere. I'd be all over it.
All right.
What else we got? Thank you, Michael.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. I kind of knew this question was coming at some point.
Mm.
Who is most likely to lose their belt tonight? Gerald Meerschaert. If you, what are your thoughts on that? Who's most likely to lose their belt tonight?
Most likely, I would say Weili Zhang. I think I got Rose in a slight edge in that one just because she's so good from the outside, and Weili's going to have to get close to her, and I think Weili's wrestling is maybe a little bit better, but even if she takes Rose down, Rose is really good off her back. So I see more paths to victory for Rose than I do Weili. I can't see anyone beating Shevchenko, and Usman's looked really unbeatable, and everyone's like, oh, well, Masvidal's got a full camp. It's like, yeah, so is Usman. He got a full camp too, and he knew who he was going to be fighting. So I don't really see either of those two losing their belts. Weili's very tough. She could pull it off, you know what I mean? And she's a really skilled fighter. I just think Rose has a little bit of an edge. And again, I have that one going to like unanimous or a split decision to Rose at the end of the day. But, you know, it's MMA. Anything can happen.
Gerald, did she used to train up at Rufus years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she used to train there.
That's what I thought.
She was there consistently a little bit before I was there full time, and she like came back and visited once or twice. So I haven't worked with her that much. You know what I mean? But
I was just more curious. Yeah.
yeah, she was up here.
I was just wondering if you, I guess you weren't really train, but you know, if you shared mats and shared kind of training rooms with her and stuff.
Yeah, we've been in the same training room before.
Cool. Do you ever, just out of curiosity, do you ever roll with like straw weights just to kind of for technique or anything in the gym, or is the size just too much to really do anything?
Oh, I roll with all our teammates. I mean, generally speaking, we'll stick to similar-ish size. But every once in a while, depending on the day of the week and what we're doing, like when I'm running grappling classes, sometimes I'll have us do what's called the circle drill. So, you get in a big circular type shape with a partner. We'll go top, bottom, rotate. And then so everyone kind of works with a different person. And, I try to make it really clear, like obviously similar size, you can go a little bit harder. If you're a different size, like if you're a smaller person, go with a bigger person. Pretend you're a big, strong guy. Try to use more of your strength. If you're the bigger guy, use more of your speed and agility so you kind of get that different look. Because I think, that's one thing they do in wrestling rooms, too, that really helps is like you grapple with all different body types.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time, but once in a while, just to see where, maybe a technique that you thought was pretty shored up isn't working on a smaller person because you're leaving some gaps that you didn't realize you were leaving, like just literal space. So then when you go back to the bigger guy, you're like, oh, if I just pinch it a little bit more like I did before, now I really got it locked in.
That's some professional advice right there. I like that.
That's why he's here. AK, your thoughts? Who is listen, all three champions could retain. It's very possible. They're all pretty sizable favorites here. But if one has to lose, who do you think's the most likely candidate to lose their title tonight?
Yeah, I'm certainly picking going with 3 and Stills, but and I do think Rose is probably the popular pick to be the one to take it. But I'll make an argument for Masvidal. Again, I don't feel the first fight was indicative of how both guys would look at their best, which is ideally what we're going to see tonight. I mean, as Gerald mentioned, it's not like Masvidal has an advantage this time. They are just at least going in under the same circumstances as far as having a full camp and knowing who they're fighting, things like that, and having having to cut weight in a similar way at least. Because I look, Masvidal had excuses for the first fight. I know MMA fans hate excuses, but these were good ones. I do think having to cut that kind of weight in that short amount of time is extremely strenuous, and it probably takes away from any sort of actual preparation he would have wanted to do with the fight. It was really just making the weight, championship weight, on such short notice. And I also think there's something to be said about the difference between knowing you're going to fight someone 2 months ahead of time and taking it last minute. Because sure, I'm sure in the back of his mind, Masvidal has been thinking about fighting Usman for a long time, but it's not the same as having that proper camp. So yes, excuses, fine. People can ignore them if they want, but I do think it's enough to go on to say this fight will go differently. So even though I'm picking Usman, I think the fight will definitely be more competitive. I think Masvidal will have more moments. And could he win? I mean, like Gerald said, this is MMA. And I think the most MMA thing that can happen tonight would be Usman calling someone out who he already beat for reasons that, I mean, they make sense to him. Don't get me wrong, he's a great competitor. I understand if you know, I'm not a UFC champion. I can't understand the mentality of like, you know, getting criticized for that first win and wanting to kind of right that wrong. If it was me and if I you know won that fight, I'm a coward. I'd be like, I'm never fighting this person again. You'll never see me step into this guy's crazy. He knocked out a guy in 5 seconds. I'm happy I went 25 minutes and I won. But Usman is so confident. He's such a great fighter. Again, maybe the greatest welterweight of all time. We'll see. That he thinks, hey, I want to fight this guy again. It's a sellable fight. And I can really, really make a statement and kind of erase the, you know, whatever bad taste that people had from the last fight. So I think he's taking a chance here. I think Masvidal is really dangerous, really experienced. So again, I'm picking 3 hand stills, but the question, who has the biggest chance? Man, I don't dislike Masvidal's chances of pulling off a big upset tonight.
I'll tell you what, I went on Twitter earlier today and I said, the more I think about this main event, the more I'm torn about it, because just talking about it yesterday with Jose, like all the differing factors, like things I didn't even think of until I was actually talking to Jose. This is a very different fight. Like there is a part of me that feels like Kamaru Usman is playing with some dangerous fire right now. Like he is playing with fire, calling this guy out again. And this is his 50th fight. Like I just feel like in a weird Tetris-y kind of way, the stars are aligning for Masvidal. I feel like everything is in Masvidal's favor right now. You have Kamaru Usman, who is never, and like I said in the previous show, he was on The Ultimate Fighter, so he's had to compete like multiple times in short spans. He's never, from a professional record stance, has ever had a turnaround this quick in his entire career. He's never had a 2-month turnaround, ever. Even in his early professional fighting days, has never had a 2-month turnaround. And he got dropped pretty hard by Gilbert Burns. I don't know how quickly you can recover from that, but that's something that I'm thinking about. There's no doubt about that. And one of the things that people tend to forget about Masvidal, since he's had these quick and ferocious knockouts, Masvidal is good down the stretch. Like sometimes like he will cruise a little too much, and that's been kind of a knock on him. But I feel like Masvidal like has kind of found a middle ground. Like, yeah, you know, normally he sets things up with his strikes. He's not as aggressive. Like he doesn't always go for the kill, but I feel like he's kind of found like this happy medium of between the guy who wins the first round and cruises for the next 2 and the guy that gets 5-second flying knee knockouts. Like I feel like he's found, and we saw it in the Nate Diaz fight. Like he looked really good in the Nate Diaz fight for however long that lasted. Masvidal was getting better. And I understand people were upset with the stoppage, especially those who were in the arena wanting to see a BMF title fight. They don't want to see a BMF title fight being stopped by a doctor for a cut, especially on a guy like Nate Diaz. But there wasn't 1 ounce of me who thought that fight was going to go any better for Nate Diaz. Like I felt like there was a really excellent performance from Jorge Masvidal, and I left Madison Square Garden that night thinking, okay, this guy isn't just a flying knee 5-second knockout. Like this is a really good fighter. So, and when I make my picks, I also put in perspective, like if someone handed me $100 and said you have to bet on this fight, how would you bet it? I'm not laying that kind of chalk on Kamaru Usman in a fight like this, especially guys experienced as Masvidal. So if I had that $100 and I was forced to bet it, I'm putting it on Masvidal. I feel confident, especially at that line at like plus 375, all over it. It's worth the risk. So I think if the answer to this question is Usman, I really think so. I think I'm picking Masvidal to win. To win.
Whoa, Mike, settle down. You took us on a journey there. Oh, you went all the way with it too.
I'm picking him to win. I literally have been thinking about this all day, and the more I've thought about it, and maybe I'm overthinking it too much, but the more I've thought about it, the more I've sold myself on Masvidal winning tonight. I could be wrong. I said the same thing about Gilbert Burns, and I was this close. I was this close to the goose. I was this close, but it didn't happen. I feel like a Masvidal and Gilbert Burns is a good striker. He's not a Masvidal striker.
Heck, Michael Heck, your AOL.
Oh no! Oh,
your AOL dial-up is Going potato.
Okay, while we wait for Mike to come back, and since we have Gerald here, and we kind of touched upon rematches, Gerald, I'm looking at your record. I see you have, if I'm not mistaken, I think you've only fought 2 guys more than once. Is that accurate? You've had so many fights. Do you remember? Are you one of those fighters who can vividly remember their entire careers, or does some of the early parts blur a bit?
2 guys more than one sounds about right.
Okay, I see Jay Ellis.
Oh, no,
you fought
it would have been
twice.
3. It's at least 3. Because I know
Okay.
I fought Jay Ellis more than once.
Yep.
Eddie
Correct.
Larrea more than once, and I fought Sam twice.
Oh, Sam Alvey. Oh, there we go. Oh my God, that was the one that should have jumped out at me. Sam Alvey. Okay. Outside. So, well, first I always like to know, how did you end up fighting this unfortunate guy, Eddie Larrea, 3 times? How does this happen?
The first time he had a decent record and he was pretty tough on the local scene, and then the second 2 times were because nobody wanted to fight me.
Oh, and he wanted that W back.
Kinda
He's
sucks.
going to get you.
Yeah.
He's going to get you eventually.
Yeah, I think I'm good now.
But
AK, I like
when it
when you
comes
asked
to-
that question. Gerald kind of did a polite eye roll, like, oh boy, gotta go back here again in my mind.
Have you ever? So kind of thinking about where kind of Usman's head. Have you ever wanted to rematch someone you've beaten? Is that kind of a weird concept?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever wanted to rematch somebody that I've beaten before. That doesn't make sense to me. But in his specific instance, he's kind of in a weird spot, right? Because he doesn't want to move up and fight Adesanya. Like, even if they weren't cool, he doesn't want to fight Adesanya. And then on the same hand, at 170, he pretty much fought everybody he could fight at this point that was a viable contender, right? He beat Colby. He fought Masvidal, albeit on short notice. He fought Gilbert. Wonder Boy would be another guy you could throw in the mix, but he's fought for the title twice already, right? Vincent Luque is kind of on the come up, but he would probably still have to get 1 or 2 more fights for people to actually get excited about it. Even though on paper, like, if you pay attention to fighting, that would be a great matchup. There's just not a lot of hype behind it. You know what I'm saying? Damian Maia's fought for the title already before. You know what I mean? And I don't know how that fight would be that exciting, because I feel like Kamaru would just, he'd probably fight him very similar to how Tyron did. He would stop all his takedowns and, do whatever. Usman already fought Tyron, so there's like nothing really there. And I can't really think of anybody at 70. Till moved up, so there's another big name that's gone up to 185, and I don't know that you can convince him to come back down to do that. So, and really, I know a lot of people, Masvidal did a good job selling it, but a lot of people like the whole Masvidal story, and they want to see that fight again. So, other than somehow convincing Conor to come up to 70 and fight for the belt, which again, that's hard because he's tied up with Dustin Poirier. What do you really do? Especially even if, he wasn't tied up at the time, he's coming off a loss. So you can't just give that guy a title shot at 170. So really, there's not many guys for him to fight at this point.
Do we really believe that Usman wants to fight Masvidal because he wants to finish him and get a better victory? Or is it simply because, this makes the most money for Kamaru and the UFC? Are we denying that this isn't the biggest pay-per-view draw for a title fight for welterweight?
I think it's partially a money thing, but he's a competitor, and it just happens to align that way. Because like in his case, I think he hears people talking about how Masvidal has a better chance or whatever, and that like really irks him. Like, he keeps feeling like, no, screw that guy. I'm going to come after and beat him up. I'm sure he recognizes that it's the best payday. Absolutely. But I think the bigger part of it, especially at this point, you've had a couple title fights, he's made some money, he's going to be okay, right? I think he just really wants to get that win back, and probably a little bit of ego in there too. Like, he wants people to really know that he's the man and like get the respect that he feels he deserves.
There you go.
Which he should go after that. He should do that. And this is smart. This is a smart call up, like Kamaru Usman. Like, especially when he's talking about like, I probably have three or four more fights left. Like, you got to get that money fight where you can get it. Like, this will be a big one. If he goes out there, and stops Masvidal tonight, then he fights Colby and like stops Colby again, like he's in great shape. Like he gets closer to that GSP level. Like I still think he needs like 3 or 4 more wins at least to get in that same conversation. But one of those, what is interesting is GSP, Matt Hughes, all of these guys who were great champions, the guys that we're comparing Kamaru to or almost comparing Kamaru to, those guys all lost and had to come back and get the title back. It's unless you're Khabib Nurmagomedov, there aren't a lot of guys who can go their entire career without losing at some point. I know Usman lost a fight a long time ago, but I mean, this guy's had a sensational run in the UFC. You know, is it time? Is tonight the time where he tastes that adversity and has to deal with it and come back? I don't know, but I don't know. I just got that weird feeling that something crazy is going to happen.
When did GSP lose his title to Matt Serra? How many title defenses in was that?
Only one.
He had none.
That was his first.
No, he had no.
He was going for his first defense. Yeah,
that was the first defense. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was his first defense. Yeah, because that's a weird one, right? Because that was so early. You could argue like Kamaru kept it longer, but then GSP has so many title defenses, and then he came back after a while to win the middleweight belt too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's also that, but yeah, it's a interesting conversation to have still.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
the fight's more interesting the more you think about it. I'm telling you, the more you think, just don't do what I did. Don't go down the rabbit hole and really start thinking about it, because then you're going to question everything you've ever thought about MMA.
Oh, but my answer.
You really treat these like conspiracy theories, don't you? You're like, you jump down the rabbit hole. This guy's like the Alex Jones of MMA.
Oh, God. You suck, Gerald.
Oh, I think that's the first time the name Alex Jones has been mentioned on this show. So,
wow. God.
Jeez.
There's a couple more YouTube hits for you.
Yep. Let's put that in the description.
Okay.
What's yours, Casey?
Oh, mine? I'm going on Andrade tonight. I love Andrade at 25. Yep.
Wow.
I think Weili takes it. I think Weili is going to be just too physical for Rose. Even though I think it's a super competitive fight, I just think Weili's going to win a close decision, and I think Usman's going to win the same way, maybe more decisively. But keep your hopes up, Mr. Heck. I like that.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yep.
And I listen, and I'm not disrespecting Kamaru Usman here. This is not me taking a big gulp of the haterade, because I have a ton of respect for Kamaru Usman, but I don't know. I just got that wacky feeling.
All right.
Something's not right in the air. Weird things are going to happen. What else you got? Thoughts on Clay Collard's huge upset win over Anthony Pettis last night on PFL?
PFL.
That was a crazy. Yeah.
Is this a troll question? Because he spelled that dude's name wrong too.
Look, Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park has a lot of other things to worry about spelling. Apparently, not one of them.
The correct promotion.
We got to go to Gerald on this one. Obviously, Gerald, I know you've trained with Anthony. What did you? I mean, were you watching that fight? What's how you kind of feeling about that? All these, today.
Yeah, I'm a terrible person to ask about this because that's my teammate. My thoughts are fuck that guy. I want my guy to win. I want to go smack him in the face right now. Like I have nothing positive or intellectual to say about this. Screw that guy. I'll punch him in the face. I don't care. I hope Anthony gets to match him up again in the playoffs and kicks him in the dome in the first round and finishes him. That's how I feel about that fight. I'm going to be 100% biased and transparent.
Good.
That's my teammate. If you beat one of my teammates, doesn't mean I think you're a bad person, but screw you.
That's it, guys. You don't need our answers.
Yeah.
You don't need our answers. That's how he feels about it. That's it. That's it.
So fuck Clay Collars and fuck that question. All right.
Doesn't matter.
All I'll say about it, and apparently I'm the Alex Jones of MMA.
Oh no.
Listen, if the whole wacky weird things are happening this weekend, if the PFL event last night didn't say that to you, you're crazy. Like Lance Palmer loses,
all three favorites,
loses, and Anthony Pettis loses. Like it was one of my favorite tweets ever last night that I've ever tweeted. I felt so good about it. It was, if you told me that Anthony Pettis, Natan Schultz, and Lance Palmer were all going to lose last night, ... I don't know how I would have reacted to you, because nobody would say that. Like, nobody would have ever said those words ever. Like, there's no way all three of these guys are going to lose, and they all lost. It was just wild. I will say the Khalid Pettis fight was, and I know Gerald, feels the way he feels. That was a crazy fight. Like, that fight was wild. Really good fight. And Pettis almost stole it at the end. That was a wild fight. It was a great fight. And that just shows you, like, the PFL event, I mean, besides the Tyler Diamond fight, and the main event was great. The Tyler Diamond fight was awesome. The prelims were a little slow. There's a lot of says Brandon Loughnane looked phenomenal. He was probably the fighter of the night overall, but Bubba Jenkins looked good. I mean, it was an interesting card for the PFL. I liked the commentators, the new look, all the, the smart cage. I kind of like the hand speed and the kick speed, like all the different stats. It was like watching. This is like compared to when Major League Baseball went to Fox for the first time, and they had the robots and all these different stats, like in the NHL going to Fox, when you had like the glow thing on the puck and you could follow it everywhere. Like, this is what the PFL is trying to do. They're trying to do different things, and I dig it. I thought prelims are okay. Brandon Loughnane kind of changed the momentum of the night, but interesting first card, because we haven't seen him since New Year's Eve 2019. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, remember, it's
I'll be honest.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I thought the one fight I did think for the PFL that could go the other way was the Bubba Jenkins-Lance Palmer fight, only because I feel like Lance Palmer, he's good everywhere, right? He's got good hands and all that stuff, but I think his hands look that much better because everyone worries about his wrestling, where Bubba Jenkins, just as good, obviously, and he's longer. He looked like the bigger guy in there, so I thought that would be something to watch for. The Marcin held one, and Natan, that one kind of surprised me because I've trained with Marcin before. He came up to Rufus for a little bit, and I never seen him have hands like that in any of his fights. Like, he was just lighting him up, and I don't know if Natan just, like, decided he was going to be a human punching bag, because he didn't look necessarily dazed by too much of it, but he just kind of sat there and defended. And Marcin looked good. He was hitting uppercuts. He was changing angles. He looked like he was comfortable on his feet, and I haven't seen him. I'd be lying if I said I follow his career super close, but I have never seen him in a fight that comfortable with his boxing. Like, that was a pretty big surprise for me.
Held is Mr. Leg Lock guy, right?
He rolls for legs. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah. And that's like, when he came up by us, it was, obviously to work on the stand-up a little bit, but that was his thing, is he would start diving for legs and rolling for arm bars and stuff like that. So to see him with his hands so good, that was impressive.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of him. I was like, oh my God, like, he's punching that guy and not diving at his legs. This is weird.
Yeah.
Times are changing.
And Gerald, I imagine you rolled with him. You've rolled with him before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you train? Oh, I would love to see that. I'd love to see Gerald and Martin going at it. Just grappling, that'd be crazy.
We had some good rounds, yeah.
All right. Get off. I think that's stupid.
That'd
question.
be awesome. Get out of here, Alan.
Get out of here. All right.
As you can see, 11 minutes away. 11 minutes
almost
away
game
from
time.
Ariane Carlosi in Liang Na.
Okay, we're gonna get the big questions. Got to fly through these now. All right, here we go.
Oh,
what are we snacking on while we're watching the fights?
I'm working. I don't normally snack when I work. Mike, Gerald, I don't know. I don't know about you guys.
You don't snack when you work? You don't eat?
That's great.
Weirdo. Freak.
I'm a professional.
Freak.
You're allowed to eat. It's okay.
No, you're not.
You can have something. Nothing?
No.
Not even like an apple?
I refuse. I refuse. Gerald, what is your game fuel? What is your game?
Hang on. I just got to know. So from 5:30 till like 1 in the morning, you're fasting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I fast on fight nights. It's very good for my system as well. It's cleansing as well as working. Sometimes I'll pass out from not having eaten, but otherwise it's a really good system. Otherwise, flawless.
Yeah, hey man, if you hit up the UFC, I'm sure we can give you some body armor or something. At least get the electrolytes in you, so you got enough energy.
Some of those P3 protein packs,
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that damn commercial of Cowboys throwing 6 billion times.
How
The
would you
answer
Joe?
is
What's gonna be
pita
tonight?
and
Yeah.
hummus chips. I mean, not pita hummus. Pita
Oh,
and
okay.
hummus.
Yeah.
That's and a nice can of seltzer. Duh.
What are you
I'm
gonna
in
eat,
Wisconsin,
Gerald?
so it's going to be ice cold beer for me.
What's
Of
your
course.
beer?
Boy.
Just beer.
I
Just says
like
beer
to
on
get.
it.
I don't get snobby. Yeah, just just beer. Man, there's a lot of great craft breweries, especially in southeastern Wisconsin and southern Wisconsin in general. Very fortunate in that sense. To whoever hasn't thought about this or is listening right now, if you're a craft brewery, independent brewery, not everything has to be an IPA and taste like you just dumped a barrel of hops in it. I promise I will drink beer that isn't some kind of peanut butter smoothie blitz triple IPA. Make an amber ale, make a lager. It all tastes delicious. I don't need to have hops punch me in the face every freaking time I crack open a beer. All right, it just once in a while is fine, okay. But your triple American pale ale, I don't need that. Make a lager, make a session ale, make something else. Do an amber ale once in a while, please. I'm doing the people's work. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Gerald.
So what do you going with tonight? What's the beer of choice?
I got a little bit of keeper moving upstairs. Good old fashioned Wisconsin beer.
There you go.
Are you in Milwaukee, Gerald? Or
Yeah,
down
I'm
there?
pretty much in Milwaukee. Yeah.
I was up there for a UFC event a few years ago. Man, there are so many cool little bars everywhere. It was I really enjoyed Milwaukee. I don't even drink. I was like, but I have to, I guess. Just like, I went to this one little bar and it had like a little bowling alley in the bar. It was the most amazing thing. Like one of those,
The only
miniature bowling. I don't know what it was called.
Yeah. No, the only thing we have in Milwaukee more than churches is bars. So it gets really cold here. There's nothing else to do. Well, unless you want to be a fighter, you can train all the time, or you can drink beer and eat food. So I went with the training.
There you go.
We have Galactus MMA in the comments saying Gerald Meerschaert. There you go.
Ooh.
So that's another nickname. Gerald Meerschaert.
There you go.
No, there it is.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. So
Oh. Is Doja Cat showing up? Where's Doja Cat? Where's Doja Cat?
okay, honestly, Gerald, if you had a choice and Dana's like, Gerald, what band we're gonna budget a band to play you out. What band are you hiring?
3-song set. 3-song set though. Just like the show.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna play a 3-song set for you. What band is it?
That would be the longest walkout ever if they played a 3-song set. But I understand the question. I'll go with my buddy of mine I met through Tyron T. Dubbo. He's a rapper in St. Louis, and he's got some good stuff. He's not like super popular or mainstream, but he's got that dirty, grimy style that I like getting pumped up for fights. So I think I go with that.
What was the name again?
T. Dubbo.
T. Dubbo.
T-Dubbo.
Okay.
All right.
Good promotion.
There you go.
T. Dubbo. SoundCloud. Check out the SoundCloud. T. Dubbo.
Okay, let's actually talk about the main event one more time.
Oh, sure.
Question for Gerald. What might Masvidal do that is different from the first fight? When announced, the consensus was that Usman would simply win again. Okay, so that question, Gerald. And then on top of that, I want to get your take on this. How important will it be? And listen, guys like you, guys like Masvidal, when you're hitting that big 5-0 number, or getting on the road to that, you know what to do. Like, you get in there and fight. Whoever's in your corner is one thing, but sometimes there's a comfort level with certain individuals. And Masvidal did not have Mike Brown in his corner for the first fight because the positive COVID test. He will have Mike Brown in his corner tonight, and there's been a lot of success for ATT with Mike Brown in the corner. So, your thoughts on what Masvidal has to do different from the first fight, and also how much of a factor will Mike Brown have in this fight?
I think having someone you're comfortable with there, and Mike Brown's a really great coach, really great game plan guy. He'll be able to keep his head on straight, keep him on track. Obviously, they are very comfortable, and that coach-fighter relationship can really make a difference when you're in there and there's, just an inch between you losing and you winning. So I think that's going to help a lot. I think what he did well last time is he won those early exchanges. Hopefully his cardio, he can sustain that longer through the fight. But I think, still keeping with those bursts, but also winning the jab battle. I think if he can out jab Usman and keep him at the end of that, and then add in some leg kicks, whether they're traditional leg kicks or if he kicks the calf a little bit, because Usman's not a guy that really drops down that low to shoot, right? He'll go at the legs a little bit, especially against the cage, but he kind of comes in and goes for like a medium low shot, so to speak. Like, he's very comfortable. If he misses the legs and it's not there perfectly, he'll come right up to that body lock, jack a guy up against the cage, which is he's really good at it. You know what I mean? He'll get good head position, little stomps, and then he'll look for the legs later. So I think if Masvidal can really establish that jab and add, he is a kickboxer. He's got really good kicks, but if he attacks that leg a little bit more this time and can disrupt Usman's stance, he's got a lot better shot, which will not only keep Usman at distance, it'll set up those bursts to be more effective, because now Usman can't set his feet quite the same way and brace for impact or go in for his takedowns and get out of the way.
That's why you're here, Gerald.
I love when we have an actual fighter on for these Q&As, because for me it's like, he'll punch him harder this time. He'll move his feet out of the way when Usman tries to stop. Like, I'm insulting myself a little bit here, but Garrett, we watch a lot. Obviously, we can provide kind of like a cursory kind of analysis, but it's great when we have someone like yourself here, like, who again literally obviously knows all their stuff and really really can break down stuff like that. So yeah, we appreciate having you here, man. It's just so I'm glad we had some actual technical analysis for once.
I'm excited for like the between rounds chatter between these guys, because in one corner you got Mike Brown talking to Masvidal and his guys. The other corner you got Trevor Whitman, and it seems Francis Ngannou will be in his corner as well. So you got the smart, analytical Trevor Whitman, and then you have just Ngannou in the background who's just going to say something terrifying like "kill him," and Usman will be all fired up. So I love that stuff. I love. And that's the one issue I have with the ESPN Plus, especially where I'm at, is like they go to commercial, and we obviously won't have that on the pay-per-view, but they go to commercial like every single round. Like, I want to hear what the coaches are saying. Come on.
Yeah.
I pay for the damn service.
ESPN, they got to make that commercial money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's Plus. This is Plus. If I want to watch it on ESPN, I'll watch it on ESPN. But
I paid for the Plus.
I don't want the damn commercials. At least change the commercials. I don't want to hear the same 2 or 3.
Well,
every single
maybe
time.
they do that picture-in-picture thing where they'll just show the corner and they hear the audio. They do that in other sports things. I don't watch sports. I just watch fights. So I don't know. So I've heard. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've walked past a bar one time and I saw it on TV. That's about all I know about sports.
All right. So we got a minute and a half left. Should we go around? Title fights real quick. Make the picks.
Let's do it.
Oh, all right, Casey. You're picking Andrade. Is that accurate?
We starting with that one? Yes, I'm going on Andrade. I'm going to go decision. If it was in the small Apex cage, I'll be a little more confident in that. But I'm a big Andrade fan. I love her at 15. I love her at 25. I thought she would have beaten Rose if it was a 5-round fight when they fought the second time, but no, Rose won the fight, but it was super close. And I just think Andrade is really good at flyweight. And I think if they fought 10 times, I think they split at 5-5. But I'm thinking tonight Andrade gets the W.
AK Shevchenko versus Andrade.
I'm going Shevchenko decision. Again, I'm seeing it play out pretty much. A lot of people expect it to. That Shevchenko avoids, a lot of the trouble spots. I think she's just a better technical striker than really almost anybody in the UFC, and I think she's better technically than Jessica Andrade. So, I think Andrade will have her moments for sure. I don't think it's like a total blowout. She's so dangerous for all 5 rounds, but I do think Shevchenko wins a decision.
GM3.
I think Shevchenko is actually going to get a finish here. Andrade is really, really tough. She's very physical. But Shevchenko is at least as strong, in my opinion. She's longer, and one tactical mistake that Andrade will make a lot, she gets away with it because she's powerful, but she really hunches over. And Shevchenko is really good at Thai boxing. And if you keep bending over and trying to close the distance and you can't reach somebody, all Shevchenko has to do is reach up, get the back of her head, send a knee right up the middle and it's lights out. Yeah, so that's going to be my big thing. Is I think she'll pepper on the outside first. I don't think it'll happen fast, right? Because Andrade is as tough as they come. But I think Shevchenko is going to punch her and kick her on the outside. I doubt a kick will catch her, only because she's pretty good about not popping up out of that shell. But I think once she starts really bullying her way in there, and Shevchenko's already established that range, she's going to get a hold of her in that clinch, and she's going to fire a knee right up the middle and catch her.
Yeah, I'm going Shevchenko third round TKO. I think I think Andrade's going to have her moments, but she is, and this is like to her testament and her detriment. She gets hit a lot. I mean, she gets hit a lot, and you can get away with it with some fighters. You can't get away with it with all of them, especially somebody as good as Valentina Shevchenko. So I think Andrade is going to have some early success. I think Shevchenko will be able to turn things around. Like Gerald said, I think she's going to pick her apart from the outside, but eventually she's going to land that one big shot, and that'll be the beginning of the end. So, Gerald, we start back with you. Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas. For those who missed it, your selection for that fight.
Yeah, Rose by a hair. It's going to be a really close fight. It's going to be a really tough fight. I think Rose has more options as far as finishing the fight. On paper, she's a little bit better off her back if she does get taken down, and she's a little bit better on the outside being a sniper and setting up big shots. Whereas Weili's got to get inside in the first place, and then she's just got to overwhelm you with a barrage of heavy strikes. So again, neither would surprise me, but I got Rose just by a hair by either unanimous or split decision.
Casey.
Picking the champ and an extremely close decision. I think it's actually going to be the fight of the night. I think this will be an excellent fight. I'm very excited. But I just think the physicality of Weili will be the difference.
AK.
I think it's going to be a good back and forth fight through 3 rounds, and I have Zhang winning by knockout in the 4th.
Ooh. I believe I had the exact same pick. Zhang Weili, 4th round. Here's the thing. The one thing that I'm very interested in is how Rose looks after the 2nd round, because she is an incredibly good starter. But we even saw it in the last Andrade fight. Second half of that fight, she started to slow down a little bit, and Andrade took advantage of that. So can Rose go 5 full with Zhang? And if she can she get out to a big enough lead and hold on? That's a tall task against somebody as powerful and as well-rounded as Zhang is. I do agree with Gerald. I think Rose does have a lot of pathways to win, but I think Zhang will eventually get it done, but it'll be late, and it'll be a damn good fight until that happens. And then main event.
And I think that big cage is going to be advantageous for Rose too. So
I agree.
I'm still picking Weili, but I think the big cage will. I think if Rose uses it to her advantage, and I definitely think Rose has a chance to win for sure.
Sure. And then main event. Am I the only one picking Masvidal?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a yes.
Yeah.
Masvidal, 3rd round knockout is what I'm going with.
Woo! Spicy.
Yep. And
That
listen,
is spicy.
the way this fight keeps playing in my crazy brain, Masvidal is going to build like little baby points for the first 10, 12 minutes of the fight, and then that's going to pay dividends. I think Usman probably wins the first 2 rounds, but I think Masvidal will do enough in those 9 points for each of the first 2 rounds to start like kind of chipping away at Usman before he finally lands the big shot. So I'm probably terribly wrong. I've been known to be terribly wrong on this program. I'll be terribly wrong after this program. But we'll see what happens.
Gerald, are you saying decision or finish for the main event?
I think it'll be a decision, just because with a full camp, I don't see Masvidal is not going to quit, and I think even if he stops trying to win, he's not going to let himself like definitively lose, if that makes sense.
Everything what Gerald said.
Makes sense.
You going decision too, AK?
Yes, Usman by decision.
All right. Well, listen, we have exercised our pre-fight ritual. We've extended it an extra 35 minutes, but big thank you to the man, the myth, the legend, in my opinion, the best instrumentalist in all of MMA, Mr. Gerald Meerschaert, who got a big win, 1st round submission this past week at UFC Vegas 24. Gerald, any final words? Anything else you want to get off your chest for the peeps?
No, that's it. Be safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Gerald, thank you again. For AK, for Casey, I am Mike Heck. Enjoy the fights, everybody. We will see you after. Of course, Jose Young's in Jacksonville right now. We'll have all the coverage. We'll have all the post-fight interviews with the winners. We'll have the post-fight press conference. We'll have a post-fight show. So much going on. We're just getting started. Buckle up. We'll see you later on.
Happy birthday, AK.
Stop it. It's not my birthday.